Hi guys, welcome to Leicester Fan TV, the away fan chat show. Tonight we'll be talking about Leicester City versus Manchester United. I'll be joined by Connor from All for United. Go and check out their channel on YouTube. They cover the men and the women. So go and check that out, guys. If you're joining me live, get in the debate. Join in. Get your comments in. Smash a like as always, share, subscribe. Feel free. If you're watching on playback, we are live 7 days a week. Fan Zone show Monday, the WSL weekly show Tuesday, the away fan chat show, which is tonight. The Premier League prediction show returns with Tom tomorrow from 7:30. The pre-match show where Reedy talks all things Leicester City ahead of Manchester United. The watch along returns Saturday at 2:00 with Elijah. Me, Phil, and the boys will be down at the King Power Stadium ahead of kick-off before and after the game. The aftermath show, post-match analysis with Jamie for the aftermath show at 9:30 on Sunday. Guys, if you haven't followed us already, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, at Leicester Fan TV. As always, smash a like, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV, and let's get a show on the road. Let's go.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Away Fan Chat Show. Tonight we'll be previewing Leicester City versus Manchester United in the Premier League. As the Premier League returns after the international break, Kasper Schmeichel keeping all sorts of clean sheets. In the international break, Vestergaard looked strong. Willie looked strong on Saturday against Manchester United with one of the GOATs coming to the King Power Stadium in Cristiano Ronaldo. How will that one turn out? Bruno Fernandes visits the King Power Stadium. Will it be another penalty for him? Kagalar Söyüncü, will he be the Turkish delight that Leicester need at the back come Saturday afternoon? Can Leicester City get that win? We'll be talking all things like that with Connor. We'll get the opposition view. Let's get a few good evenings in then. Derek, hello. Flipping heck. Hi, mate. Rodgers news isn't great, is it? Well, according to John Percy, Rodgers is staying and isn't interested in Newcastle. Amanda, hello. The speculation is all doom and gloom. Well, performances ain't helping on the pitch. Maz Redway, hello. Ross, evening. Flipping heck. Derek, going to be hard for him to turn his head, though, as I suspect they will pay him big bucks. £16 million buyout clause would be perfect for them. If it happens, it'll be annoyed. Mateus, LCFC, mate, if we get the win, I'll get Vestergaard tattooed on my bod. Well, I'm sure Vestergaard will appreciate that. Just don't put it in the wrong places. Brendan says he's staying, that's good. Hello, Adrian. Hello, Callum, how are you? Hope he goes. Jaffrey says, well, oh, well, that's good news, I guess, Jack, it is. Let's get my guest on then, Connor Roberts from All for United. Connor, how are you, pal?
Yes, not too bad. Glad to be here. I must say, that was a brilliantly put together intro. So whoever's behind that, not a fan of the chanting, but as a production, I thought that was very good. So just
thanks. Pleasure. Connor, then, you're from All for United. Tell us everything you do over there.
Yeah, so I guess All for United is, it's like any other platform out there. I think the only difference, maybe, obviously, with us from some of our other colleagues over at other channels, obviously we cover the women's team as well. So All for United WFC. So we follow The women's team all over the place. We follow a lot of the local women's sides as well. Obviously, All for United as a brand. We follow the men's team, the under-23s, the 18s. We got some people away at Sunderland today. So, yeah, we're just another one of those channels where we just discuss the team that we all support and go to as many of the games as we can.
Yep. Let's get a stat in there then before we start. Mets 96 times. Leicester winning 24, Man United winning 48, draws 24. Obviously, you said before we went live that Leicester haven't beat Manchester United at the King Power Stadium as of yet.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's of all time. That's definitely since you've been back in the Premier League this time around, though.
Yep. Your last 5 games then, Connor, in the Premier League, you've won 3 times. You've lost to Aston Villa and you drew to Everton.
Yeah, it's not been great. I mean, the Villa one was a one-off, I think, when you look at it. Obviously, Newcastle, that was to be expected. It was Ronaldo's return. That was always going to happen. West Ham away as well. That was a good performance. The Everton performance actually wasn't that bad. If you look at it, I was at that game and I didn't feel like it was as bad as some fans made out when we came out. But that's the problem in the Premier League. If you don't kill teams off, that's what happens. And it takes one counter-attack, especially against our back four. As good as it looks on paper, it's not working at the moment. For whatever reason, we've conceded more goals this season already than we did in the first however many of last season. We cannot keep a clean sheet for the life of us. I know that's very similar to how you're playing at the moment, but it's strange when you look at the kind of back 5 that we've got. De Gea's having he's back in like 2014, 15 De Gea, yet we're shipping goals all over the place. So I don't think it's going to take much to break us down. I think teams, know now when they come to Old Trafford, particularly when you look at that Villa and Everton game, teams aren't scared of coming to Old Trafford anymore. They'd come there, they know what they need to do, sit and defend and hit us on the break, and we're just open all the time. So, yeah, it's not been ideal, but it's not all bad, as I'm sure we'll get into a bit later on.
Yeah, our last game then in the Premier League was at home to Everton. Andros Townsend doing the Cristiano Ronaldo Sue. Well, it didn't go down well after the game, did it? Cristiano Ronaldo just didn't want to know Andros Townsend after the game, which obviously the cameras caught quite a lot of. Tell us about the Everton game then. How did it go and what went wrong?
There was parts of the play that was good. Attacking wise, I thought it was all right in times. We just didn't take our chances again. And the problem is when you don't, like I just said, if you don't take your chances in the Premier League, this is what happens. And when you've got a midfield like we had with McTominay or Fred, which would take your pick which one you want in there, we're very slow on the recovery. So when we're attacking in the way that we do, and Ronaldo's not going to track back, Greenwood's not the best at it, Sancho's not the best at it, Pogba's not going to do it, Fernandes does do it, but so you're relying on your back 4, well, back 2 really, because Wan-Bissaka and Shaw play so high up that you're relying on your back 2 in your midfield, and because of the recovery pace that we have in midfield, it's not great. So I feel like our attacking play, and I said this at the start of the season, actually, when we signed Ronaldo, who I know we're going to talk about a bit later, but yeah. I feel like this season for us is going to be very much outscoring teams. I don't think we're going to keep many clean sheets at all because of that midfield, and that back line's just not working for whatever reason. But yeah, so that game as a whole, it was disappointing. I was more disappointed with that actually than the Villa game, because I feel like the Villa game just felt like a one-off. We weren't in that game at all. But the Everton one, we dominated for 65, 70 minutes. And then, obviously, Townsend puts one away, tries to copy his idol in Ronaldo and nearly falls flat on his back. So that was quite funny. But, yeah, it's to be honest, the only positive, actually, out of that game was Yerry Mina dance, because he was dancing right in front of where I was when he thought he'd scored the winner. And then it got pulled offside. That was the only positive from that game.
Yeah, VAR plays a nasty sort of thing when goals are scored. Sometimes you're waiting for about an hour till the referee blows his whistle to say it's offside or something like that. But it's to finish the margins, isn't it, VAR? Obviously, they're supposed to be thickening the lines this season for strikers, and the referees and the linesmen, are supposed to play a big part in that. But obviously not. It seems like the same shit every time, shall I put it, with VAR. Decisions get given, which really shouldn't be decisions. It's like the narrowest of margins, isn't it? How can you even roll it out? How do you even work it out? did it's offside or anything like that?
Yeah, I think that one in particular, that Mina one, was well offside. I remember I called it actually in the stadium, and if you can see it in the stadium, usually your kind of gut is. I mean, it was right in line with us anyway, and everyone else around us was kind of angry, shouting whatever, and I was just like, yeah, that's offside. You can see it's like a yard or so. But I do agree. I actually agree with what they've done this year in terms of making the lines a little bit thicker and giving the advantage to the attacker, because we saw so many goals ruled off, like not just like from a personal standpoint, not just for United, like goals against us. Goals for other teams, like rival teams like Liverpool. I was looking at it going, there's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, I'm glad they've started favouring the attacker a bit more, because we want to see goals and we want to see fair decisions, don't we?
Yeah. Last time round, then Leicester versus Manchester United. Luke Thomas scored a banger into the top corner. Mason Greenwood capitalised on Leicester's defensive mistakes to make it 1-1, and then Kagalar saw injury from a corner. Turkish delight at Old Trafford that night. Do you remember much of the game last season? Leicester beating Man United at Old Trafford 2-1.
I remember, yeah, because that was in that period where obviously we were protesting and the fixture got moved to right in between. It was that run where we had 4 games in 8 days or whatever it was. I think we played that Leicester game was kind of sandwiched in the middle, so the side we put out was, I'm just looking at it now, we have Williams and Tellez at fullback, Ahmad and Alanga, and you've got Matic and Van der Beek as a double pivot, and Mata in the middle. It's just an awful team when you look at it like that. And so I wasn't surprised. If there was the unfortunate thing in that run is we lost to Liverpool 2 days later, which was the game we were resting players for. So we may as well have gone out full out in that Leicester game. However, there was enough players in that team to put up a performance. From what I remember of it, we weren't in that game at all.
Yeah.
I remember just watching it. I think we had one shot on target that whole game, and it was the goal that obviously Greenwood scored. And I think we have this issue every time we play you, that the midfield battle, which is always key in every game you play. But I mean, I'd look at your midfield, and there's 4 players that I'd take over the midfield we've got. So that Old Trafford game in particular was another. If you want a prime example of how your midfield just dominates ours, just go and watch that game. I know it's not our first 11 midfield, or you can go watch the cup game actually when you knocked us out the FA Cup. That midfield just dominates ours. So yeah, I can't look at that game too much because that's not going to be the 11 obviously that we field on Saturday. But even still, there was enough on that day to try and compete at least.
Yep. So this weekend, then, Connor, Man United travel to Leicester to play in the Premier League. What sort of outcome are we looking for then? What kind of Man United's going to turn up? What we're expecting? Because Leicester at the minute, not on the greatest of form. I mean, we're going to be missing Wilfred Ndidi, Johnny Evans, Wesley Fofana, James Justin. There's some very vital players in that Leicester squad. Wilfred Ndidi keeps that midfield together. Whether Brendan goes 2 up front with Kel and Vardy. I mean, Kel obviously loves a goal against Manchester United, and so does Jamie Vardy. He's got one of the best records against the top 6, Jamie Vardy. So his threat is always there, and he's always known to be around, isn't he? With his defenders, he's a right nuisance, and is a striker that everyone would love in their football team. Yeah,
I think he's one of those players, similar, obviously, Fernandes for us, that you love him if he's playing for you, but you hate him if he's not. So, and I in terms of your question about the game, I think if we had our full 11 in terms of that, obviously we know Maguire and Varane are missing. So it's going to be Vardy up against Eric Bailly and Lindelof, or Iheanacho, depending on who you play there.
Yeah.
And that does worry me, because Lindelof, we know, just gets bullied off the ball way too easily, and Vardy will be all over him. Eric Bailly likes a battle, but he's a walking red card. So you don't know, with Vardy winding him up, and you're going to have Iheanacho kind of in and out. I don't know whether it'll be Lookman or Barnes or whoever it is. Somebody will be kind of in and around him, trying to get him booked and all these kind of things. So I'm not as confident as I usually would. And when you take Varane and Maguire out of our team, we can't play as high up because we don't have the recovery pace of Varane to drop back. So yes, Bailly and Lindelof have got a bit of pace about them, but I can see us playing 10 yards deeper than we usually would. So although quietly confident because, like I said, you haven't beaten us at the King Power since you've been back in the top flight. And the last couple of occasions we played there, we drew 2-2, didn't we, last December? And that was actually probably our best performance all season. We were unlucky not to get the win in that game. I do remember and that was, funny enough, when Ollie was under pressure again. So, we dominated that game at the King Power. It was obviously the reverse fixture we didn't. But yeah, there's a lot of threats, from our side. But like I said, I can see. I think it all depends. I'm interested to hear what you think Rodgers will do in this game, because if you come at us like you usually do, like most teams that have had success against us this season, Everton, Villa, you could even argue young boys, sit back and then hit us on the break. Whereas when we've played Leicester in the past, Rodgers has not really tend to do that. You've usually gone at us. And I feel if you do that, that will favour us as well, because we work well in the open spaces. But yeah, I'm just intrigued to hear, whether you think he will sit back or whether you think he'll go for it like he usually does.
I mean, with Brendan, you've seen this season, we like to play out from the back. We seem to pass it around the back quite a lot and keep it at the back. We get forward and then beat around the bush and go backwards again. Harvey Barnes is not running at defenders like he should be, then fullbacks. What he did last season before injury. He was running at the fullback, scoring goals. Jamie Vardy, you're not to expect from him. Adam Mola-Lookman, fantastic acquisition on loan this season so far. Quite happy with him. The human lamppost and the Turkish delight this season in Vestergaard and Kags. What can you expect? They've been poor. Schmeichel plays it out from the back quite a lot. He's obviously the leader on the pitch, so why is he doing that? He needs to pump it forward. Schmeichel's kicking is not the greatest. His saving's fantastic. This weekend, do we go with Ricardo and Castagno, left back and right back, or do we put Bertrand there? Our defence at the minute is conceding bare goals. They use the point of Johnny Evans not being there. Obviously, Johnny well at Manchester United, fantastic defender, and he's a fantastic leader on the pitch. And it looks like without Johnny Evans, Leicester's defence is nowhere to be seen. It's easy to get through. You guys have got the pace of Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mason Greenwood, Anthony Martial. They're the sort of players that can get in around them two and beat them with pace. Vestergaard is good from set pieces in the air, but he's not good running or defending well. Kags loses his head a bit. Kags needs a leader on the pitch. And without Evans, it don't look like it works them two very well. Johnny Evans is on a foot injury at the minute. But, Leicester as a whole in defence need to adapt without Johnny Evans, don't they? Why he's not there, and we don't seem to be doing that. We're conceding bare goals, and Man United could capitalise on that come the weekend. But then has Brendan Rodgers got a plan B where he thinks, get it out quicker, get him beyond the spaces that Man United have given us, and then take advantage of it and get forward and score goals. You don't really know which Leicester team's going to turn up, but we always seem to play well against the big six.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that about Vestergaard, because obviously when you signed him, and this is just me looking at it from an outside perspective, everyone was saying how much of a steal it was, and I think I was one of the only fans that was saying I don't think Vestergaard's as good as people are making out. That's not me just saying this just because I'm on this channel. I genuinely I didn't think he was that good at Southampton. And when everyone was saying how much of a good deal it was, I was a bit like, he's not that good. And I didn't think he'd improve your defence. And I was just intrigued by that question. That's why I asked it, just because I think your best performance against us in recent times was the FA Cup win that you back in earlier this year, and you played a back five in that game. I think it was Fofana, Evans, and Soyuncu, I think, with the back three.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So that's why I just asked, just to see if that is something that maybe Rodgers will try, and you'll kind of sit a little. Not necessarily when people say back five and sitting deep, it doesn't necessarily mean you park the bus. You can have a back five and still play attacking football. Chelsea have proved that across over the years. So I don't know. I can see Rodgers trying something a bit different, because I think if you play 4-4-2 like you did against Palace and try and come at us, I think that favours us more than it favours you.
Yep. Leicester, didn't really have the greatest games against Crystal Palace last game. We took advantage of their two missed opportunities in defence. Kell scored, Vardy scored. But Man United, if they're to make mistakes this weekend, Leicester's got to capitalise on it. But then you've got to defend it. I mean, Crystal Palace, we let them straight back into the game and scored 2 quite quick goals, punished us. Let's move on then to Mr. Sue, Cristiano Ronaldo, the GOAT. Fantastic acquisition. Ronaldo or Messi then? The big debate. Who's better? Who would you prefer in your team?
It's not a debate, is it?
Well, it's for some people.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't like the debate because they're 2 different players. So if you want a goals, I know Messi scored a hell of a lot of goals as well. If you want a goal scorer, you go Ronaldo. If there's somebody you're bringing on in the 90th minute or you're trusted in a final, it's Ronaldo. But if you want someone, that can run at people, Messi's dribbling and the way he assists goals. And his finishing, it's Messi, isn't it? You're gonna struggle to find a criticism of either of them. But if you're asking me, and this is not just me saying this as a United fan, and well, Rossi said it, not me. If I take myself out of this as a United fan, I just look at who's scored more important goals. And it's Ronaldo. Ronaldo scored in multiple finals, leading his team to finals with Portugal, Madrid, with United, with Juventus. Like, he's done it everywhere in so many different leagues and at international. Whereas Messi, you look at sometimes and go, like we just said there about, I know he's only had a short time at PSG so far, but he only really stuck it, obviously, at Barcelona and never really hit the heights at international level. And you could argue that Argentina side is better than the Portugal side that Ronaldo's had over the years. So, yeah, that's a joking aside. They're 2 of the best players. I don't like comparing across generations because I feel like a different football's changed over the years. But when you look at it, they're going to go down in history, those 2. I just don't like the debate because I just feel like they're 2 different types of players.
Yep. I'm going to back Cristiano. I've been a fan of him since a young boy. Always loved watching Ronaldo. Fantastic player. He offers a lot, doesn't he? Scores goals everywhere he goes, wins everything. Won the Champions Leagues numerous of times. He's won bare and he's done his country proud as well in Portugal. Fantastic player all round. Messi, he's only done it at 1 club. I mean, in the Premier League, Messi wouldn't hack it, I don't think. Too quick for him. I mean, in the La Liga, it's players who don't really like to tackle. I mean, in the Premier League, you come to the Premier League, they'll get stuck in and break your legs. You'd be lucky to come off the pitch without an injury. Let's move on to Ollie then. Is he at the wheel or is the wheels falling off for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Oh, God. So this... I'm going to ask you the same question actually after this because I'm intrigued from an outside fan what you think of him. But internally, I will always back any manager. I'm on record backing Mourinho, backing Van Gaal, as boring as the football was, backing Moyes because I don't believe in just sacking managers and starting the process again. So I will always back Ole because I've backed every manager that we've had. Now, that's not to say that I think he's the best manager in the world. People, and I hate this amongst our fan base at the minute, that you've got to be one or the other. You have to be in or out. Why do you have to be in or out? Why can't you just support the team like most of us do? And criticise where necessary. Now, me personally, if you're asking me my thoughts on him, I think he's done a brilliant job. He's changed the culture of the club and the players he's got in. I think he's not bad enough to get sacked, but I don't think he's good enough to win us a title. So I think we're going to be stuck in that kind of limbo of we're not good enough to get to the top, but we're not bad enough to drop out of the top 4. And, for him to leave, so to speak. So, it's a difficult one with Ollie, but it doesn't help. Obviously, he's a club legend. But I mean, even if you take that out of it, it's like I said, I backed Mourinho and Van Gaal, and those performances were dreadful. So, I think Ollie is good, and he's definitely, his management of certain players like Pogba, keeping him around, although it looks like he's leaving anyway. His management, getting Fernandes in, just look at our team from now to when he started at the start of the season. He's transformed the club. But I'm just intrigued to hear what you think of him, because obviously, as United fans, it's difficult because we've got that kind of emotional investment. But What do you feel like he's doing?
I think with Solskjaer, he done well. Obviously, interim manager and stuff like that, like Shakespeare did at Leicester. I mean, good players sometimes don't work out as fantastic managers. If you look at Frank Lampard, fantastic career at Chelsea, great English footballer, but just don't work out for him as a manager. I mean, look at Wayne Rooney, Derby's gone downhill. I mean, Solskjaer, I don't think he's a manager. I don't think he's the right fit for Manchester United. I think you guys can do better in the managerial aspect of it all. You guys as a club should be bringing in high-profile managers than just looking to save money and getting Solskjaer the job. Like you say, I don't think Solskjaer is going to win you titles. I mean, you need a high-profile manager to go and do that. I mean, you've got a class side. Varane, Ronaldo, Fernandes. You've got quite a lot of good young talent. Luke Shaw, he's transformed into a great left-back. I mean, Alex Telles has not been given a chance, really. I mean, Mason Greenwood, great English talent. You've got quite good players. I mean, Pogba, he looks more like a fashion designer than he does a footballer. Whether I don't know how you feel about that, but that's my point on Pogba. I just don't think his head's in the football space. It's more like James Maddison in a fashion world and looking to go down that red carpet.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, kind of on what you were just saying about Ollie, and then I'll go on to Pogba. I think so. The problem is, if you sack Ollie now, there's who are we getting? Steve Bruce? Like, there's nobody out there that we're gonna get, is it? So that's the issue now. That it's like I said, I think we're going to be stuck in this weird kind of limbo where we're not quite at the top, but we're not going to drop out. I think we're just going to be stuck in like second and third. So yeah, that's difficult. And also as well, people criticize Ollie because his tactics and his coaching isn't up to standard.
Yeah,
but he doesn't take the coaching sessions. It's Carrick and McKenna and Fletcher and all these people behind the scenes that take the coaching sessions and Phelan and so on. So when people say that, that's kind of irrelevant because he doesn't do that anyway. And yeah, on Pogba, I mean, anyone who follows me on Twitter will know I'm not his fan anyway. Like even at the start of the season, obviously pulled up 4 assists against Leeds. Did really well against Southampton and play, but I'm just so sick of every international break. Every time every time he's not with United, he's out in the media saying about how he loves other clubs. And it's not even just that. I said I got slated for it at the time, but on All for United, I controversially said that Pogba doesn't make our best 11 because I genuinely don't think he does. And everyone was kind of saying, he fits in a midfield too, or he can play out wide. Well, he's not a winger and he's not good enough to play in a midfield too. So I would rather, and I don't. Hopefully, there's no United fans watching because they'll be slating me for it. But I would rather McTominay and Fred over Pogba and McTominay or somebody like that because at least with those two, as poor as they are at times, they work together. Whereas Pogba in a midfield two doesn't work. He's too slow on the ball. He's just doesn't have the defensive capacity, and he's not a winger, so you can't keep shoehorning him in on the left. And with Rashford coming back, you've got Sancho coming into the team. You've got Ronaldo, Cavani, Greenwood, who's undroppable at the moment. So where do you play him? So on Pogba, I wish we would have sold him this summer. We didn't. Now we're in a situation where it looks like we're going to lose him for free. So I'm not too happy with that because we're going to lose out on potentially 50 million, let's say. And I've just seen a comment there, Fred over Pogba. Am I crazy? No, right. So let me just clarify what I've just said. So Pogba as a player is not even in the same league as Fred. He's way player. But if Leicester, I'm going to use Leicester as a prime example. Actually, Leicester have got in midfield at least a full balanced 3. When you had Ndidi, Tielemans and Maddison, because you had one sit-in. Tielemans was the box-to-box and Maddison was the playmaker. With United, if you put Pogba in that midfield 3, let's say for argument's sake, it's McTominay, Pogba, Fernandes, because Fernandes is not going to be dropped. Pogba's too slow. He cannot be that box-to-box. He's not disciplined enough to play in a midfield 2. McTominay's not a 6, so you can't put him there. So that's why Ollie goes with McTominay and Fred, because they can work together. And if one goes, the other one sits, and vice versa. And it's like I said, where do you fit Pogba then? Yes, he plays well off the left, but with Rashford back, Sancho and Greenwood, there's nowhere to put him in the team. So I like Pogba as a player. I just don't. If you want to win titles and you want to win consistently, you need a balanced team. And I don't think Pogba fits into that kind of balance that we need sometimes.
Yeah, obviously it's the return of Marcus Rashford, so he'll be coming in at the weekend. Varane and the fridge, Harry Maguire, to miss out then. How key is Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane? How big of a miss will them two be on Saturday afternoon against Leicester City?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Maguire's obviously a player that you guys will know very well. I bloody love Maguire.
Yeah,
he's one of those old-fashioned defenders. You know, screams passion as well when he's playing as well. And so in terms of what we lose, I'll start with that first. I mean, statistics would say not a lot because we're still conceding a lot of goals this season. So, however, the spin on that, when you've got those two playing, especially Varane, I think Varane has shown, this is going to sound quite bad, Varane has shown the difference between a good player and a world-class player this season when he's playing alongside Maguire, because Maguire's a good player, but he's not world-class. And I think Varane has shown that when he's come in, how calm he is on the ball, his defensive recoveries. People could argue he was at fault for the Villa goal, but not Villa, Newcastle goal, but I don't buy that. And then, like I said, you've got Shaw and Wan-Bissaka as well. The problem is when you take one of them out, it's not too bad because at least you've got one solid, experienced defender there. When you're taking both of them out, like I said, it's going to be Lindelof and Bailly, and it's like, oh, life. Both of them, like I said earlier, Bailly's a walking red card, and Lindelof's just too slow and just gets pushed off the ball. And like I said, Vardy's going to have an absolute field day against both of those. So, in terms of what we lose, just that. In terms of going forward, it doesn't change too much for us in an attacking sense because obviously we like to play out from the back and, we're quite composed on the ball with Varane and Maguire. Lindelof and Bailly are like that as well. So we're not going to lose that aspect. I just think Vardy's going to be looking at that going, he'll probably be saying to Rodgers today, and all through the training sessions, get me against Lindelof, because he'll just run rings around him. So I'm worried about that. It's the physicality. We lose a lot of height. So set pieces, we're going to be even worse than we usually are. And I just worry about Vardy looking at that back two.
Yeah, Connor then, key players for United against Leicester.
I could name a few here. I'm going to say his name properly because I've heard you butcher it a couple of times. Fernandes. There's no Panandes in there. I'm not having that. But so obviously Fernandes. I think it's like I said earlier. I think if you come out and press us, Fernandes will play a key role because he likes having that free. The problem is, and we've seen that as United fans, we've seen this a lot this season. Fernandes is playing far too high up, and we're almost playing a 4-2-4. We've got McTominay and Fred, and then you've got Fernandes playing almost as a bloody striker next to Ronaldo, and then your two wingers, and we can't get the ball to them. So for me, I'd like to see Fernandes drop further back. But key players now, Rashford, I'm not sure will be back. If he is back this weekend, he'll be in the squad, but he won't be starting. Definitely not. So it will likely be. I can see him going Pogba, Ronaldo, Greenwood. So it's got to be Ronaldo and Greenwood. I think two key players to really. Obviously, Ronaldo, like I said earlier, like I said my thoughts on Vestergaard, and I actually really like Soyuncu. But if you put Ronaldo up against them, you put Ronaldo up against anybody, they're going to be a threat. And Greenwood always seems to play well in these kind of bigger games as well. He's got that solid mentality, and so probably those two. I think look to exploit you down the wings with Wan-Bissaka and Shaw bombing on, because we're going to be looking for a response, obviously after the Everton game, and I'm sure everyone knows how we are when Ollie's under pressure. So fingers crossed we can get the job done. But definitely, I don't need to say anything about Ronaldo. You should know, what Ronaldo does. But definitely Greenwood as well. I think I'd throw into that mix because what Ronaldo's brought is just going back to him. What he's brought in terms of for the team is Vestergaard and Soyuncu will both be watching Ronaldo. Ronaldo has it because he's such a star player. You've got two players now marking him rather than one. So that drags an extra defender away, which frees up space for the likes of Sancho, Pogba, Greenwood, whoever it is.
Yeah, hopefully Vestergaard, the human lamppost that he is, will light up the defence at the weekend. He'll obviously be a threat from set pieces. He's like, what, over 6'7". So, he's massive. He looks like a big friendly giant at the minute rather than an aggressive one like Jack and the Beanstalk. And he needs to be more take the fight to teams, and shove them around. You don't know what to expect until you actually do it. But that could be a walking red card. I mean, you guys know of him losing 9-0 at Old Trafford. Yannick Vestergaard. You guys beat Southampton 9-0. Vestergaard were playing, and obviously Bertrand was as well, wasn't they? So, Leicester fans will obviously have an opinion on them too. Why sign them to out of a 9-0 Southampton side who did it twice? But that'll be another show to talk about that. Leicester City's threat then, Connor. Who's going to be threatening you the most from a Leicester perspective?
I think there's a couple. I'm a real big fan of Tielemans, actually. He's one player. If I could swap Pogba for anybody, it would be Tielemans. Because that then would sort our midfield balance out, because you'd put McTominay, Fred sitting, Tielemans and Fernandes, and I think that would really work. So I'm actually really jealous you've still got hold of him. Although you never know, at the end of the season he's not tied down yet, is he? But I won't say that on this channel. But so definitely the midfield battle. I don't quite know who is fit from your side. If you said indeed he's out, so it's going to be likely Tielemans, Chowdhury maybe.
Samari. I mean,
yeah,
Chowdhury's a leg breaker, isn't it? He's an old school tackler. So
I can see the midfield battle being won by you again, just because it's going to be McTominay and Fred from our side. But I've already mentioned him. It's Vardy for me. It's like I said, up against Maguire and Varane, I would have been a bit okay. It's not too bad. We can deal with that. But with Lindelof and Bailly, that pacing behind, that ball over the top, you've got midfielders that can play the passes over the top. So Unchu's got a good pass on him as well. Luke Shaw, I don't know what's wrong with him at the minute, but he just doesn't look fit. I don't know whether that's a hangover from the Euros, or whether that's something that maybe Lookman will be looking at on that right-hand side, our left-hand side. So, yeah, there's a couple of threats there, but definitely that ball in behind, over the top is definitely there. But it's Vardy, isn't it? Vardy will make a chance out of anything. So, yeah, that midfield battle is it in any game is key, but we never seem to win it against you. But I'm not worried about us going forward. I'm just worried about us defensively. Did you want me to answer that one?
Question there for you. If the Champs can get Pogba playing industrially in the midfield for France, why can't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Well, I can answer that in two ways. So one is because you've got the Duracell Bunny Kante playing next to him. And when you've got a player like that next to him, and you could stick anyone there, and Kante's going to do the running for you, isn't he? So and if Kante's not there, it obviously previous years it was Matuidi, or it was somebody like that with that kind of energy can run about the midfield. But also as well, people I get this thrown at me a lot on the United channels. We see Pogba for France over 3 games, maybe or 6 or 7 if you're looking at an international tournament. You're seeing Pogba at United over 40, 50 games. So when people say he's not consistent for United, he's played well for United for 6 or 7 games at a time, which is what he does for France. But you don't see him for France over 50 games at a time, do you? You see 3, and then he goes to United for 15, and then another 3 for France. So there's no real onus on him to be consistent, because it's kind of, like I said, internationals are every 2 months or whatever they are. Yeah. So he's done that for United. He's done it this season. For the first 3 games, he was our best player. But the problem is, in the system that Ollie wants to play, there's just no room for Pogba in it, unfortunately. And I think with France, you can kind of put him in that midfield too, because he has a proper number 6 behind him. So he can be that box-to-box, and he can kind of do it. But with United, you've got Fred, who's not a 6. He's a box-to-box. McTominay's a box-to-box. Matic is a 6, but he's not quick enough. And you can't have Matic and Pogba because they're both too slow. So we need somebody like a Kante. I'd love Kante. Or somebody like that can sit and let Pogba do his thing with Fernandes, but we just don't have that, unfortunately.
Yep. So you're 11 then to face Leicester City at the weekend. Who's your starting 11?
My personal starting 11 is going to be different to what Ollie's going to go for. So I'll go with what I would want to see. Obviously, De Gea, Shaw, Bailly, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka. Oh God, the midfield. I would actually really like to see, and I don't actually like Van der Beek, but I'm actually going to throw him in there because I think we need somebody who's calm on the ball. I would actually go Matic, Van der Beek, Fernandes, and then a front three of Greenwood, Sancho, Ronaldo, because I think we need to try and keep the ball in the midfield. We cannot have another game against you where we're dominated in midfield. So if you watch all for United, you'll know that I'm not a massive Van der Beek fan, but we need to try and keep the ball. And like I said earlier, you can't have Pogba and Matic in the same pivot because they're not quick. You need a bit of energy in there, especially against Chowdhury or Tielemans or whoever it's going to be. So, yeah, that'll be the midfield three I'd go for. But if knowing Ollie, it's going to be McTominay, Fred, Pogba on the left, Greenwood on the right, and Ronaldo down the middle. So, yeah, my 11's a little bit different to what I think he's going to go for.
Yep. Van der Bench. What kind of formation do you think Ollie's going to use then in tactics to beat Leicester?
Well, it's like I just said. I want him to go 4-3-3, but he won't. It'll be a 4-2-3-1 with McTominay and Fred in the middle because we always see those in the bigger games. It'll be Fernandes. I'd like to see Fernandes on paper plays 10.
Yeah. But
if you watch him in games, he doesn't. He almost plays, like I said earlier, as a second striker. So he's clearly being told to do that. So it'll be at times when you look at it on. Obviously, I think you said you're at the game. If you look at it, if you're sat higher up, you'll see us almost playing a 4-2-4. So you got your back four, your two midfield, McTominay and Fred, and you'll see Fernandes alongside Ronaldo in the two wingers. So it should be a 4-2-3-1, but it isn't because Fernandes just likes to roam wherever he wants up front. So, yeah, I don't know. The more I think about this game, the more nervous I'm getting because I just don't like Fernandes as a second striker. That midfield just worries me, whoever we play. I don't think it's any coincidence. Every team we play this season, I'm going away from Old Trafford or wherever the game is, going, that midfielder gets in our team. I was looking at Villa going, Douglas Luiz gets in our team. Looking at Everton going, Corey gets in our team. I'll be doing it at the Leicester game. Yeah, he gets in our team because our midfield is so poor that anyone I think walks in. Well, we could play Burton Albion and half of their squad. You know, their midfield would get in our team. So, yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. Guys, if you're watching so far and enjoying the show, smash a like as always. Subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. Go and check out All for United, which I'm sure Connor will point you that way later on. Connor, then let's look at your next 5 games in the Premier League. Leicester on Saturday, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspurs, Manchester City, and Watford. How many points do we get out of them games?
Oh, crikey. What's that? I think I'll go game by game. I think we'll beat you. I think we'll draw to Liverpool. I think we'll lose to Spurs. Beat City, draw to Watford. So what's that? 3, 4, let's say 7. 7 out of 15. I wouldn't be. I would be more confident than that if we didn't have 2 crucial Champions League games in the middle of it. Because usually you'd rotate. You know, it's our own fault. We lost to Young Boys, so we're in this position off our own back. You know, so if we didn't have to play Atalanta twice, right before the Liverpool game, and then right before the City game, I'd be a bit more confident in those. But I just feel like you put your 2 Champions League games in the mix of it. It's not an ideal run of games. But like I said earlier in the show, you know, you look at Ollie when he's been under pressure, we seem to perform all right. So yeah, it's not a great run, is it? And like I said, we couldn't have lost Maguire and Varane at a worse time because we're coming up against teams that will have chances against us. It's not like we're playing Newcastle or something like that who will only live off 1 or 2 chances if we can live with it. Leicester, I can see you having 5 or 6 chances at least. You look at Liverpool and City, they look strong. But the only thing I think going in our favour in that run of games is Liverpool and City are both at Old Trafford. And it's not been a fortress this year, as we've seen with Villa and Everton. But in bigger games, the crowd will rise to any game. But in those games, it does make a difference. So I feel like we should... I can't see us lose neither of those. But, you know, I could be wrong. I could be back on the show in 3 months' time and we could be like 7th or something.
It's how the Premier League works. You're not guaranteed to win every week. Big club in Leicester, big club in Liverpool, small in Spurs, money club in Man City, and Elton John in Watford.
We never play well against Watford either. I don't know what it is. We never ever play well at Watford.
Didn't you lose there last time round?
Yeah, 3-1, I think, or 2-1. Yeah, we definitely lost the last time we played there, I'm sure.
Connor, then, your predictions for Manchester United this season?
Oh, Christ. Oh, God, that's a difficult one. The thing is, it's like you said earlier about you don't know what Leicester side is going to show up. I don't know what United side is going to show up week in, week out. Because sometimes we play and I'm like, that away performance at West Ham is probably the best we've played all season. Probably deserved more from it at the time. Yeah. So if we play like that for most of the games, we'll be all right. I can't see us, unfortunately, as a United fan, I can't see us winning anything, if I'm being totally honest. I think we've got more chance of winning the Champions League than we have the Premier League because we're better in knockout competitions than we are in the league. And obviously over the course of a season, we're just not consistent enough. So I can see a comfortable top 4 finish. I think we don't need to worry about that. Ronaldo will win us games on his own, as he already has done with Villarreal games.
Carries every team.
Yeah. So I think that's the added bonus we've got this season. We can not play well, but when you've got Ronaldo, you start with 12. When you've got Ronaldo, we've always got a chance. So he will win us games on his own. So yeah, I think going back to predictions, so at least quarterfinals of the FA Cup, at least quarterfinals of the Champions League, and then I can see us finishing 3rd. But, you know, that's my head talking. If you're asking me, you know, speak from the heart, we're winning everything. But, if I'm being sensible about it, I can't see us winning a trophy. I can see us getting close, but I can't see us winning anything this year, unfortunately.
That's fine. Brighton and West Ham out of that top 4 race. 2-1 to Leicester. 3 points coming. Connor, then, last one. Score prediction for the weekend.
Oh, dear. Oh, God. So I think I'm going to have to say United win, because if I don't, I think everyone at All for United would be slaughtering me for coming on here and not predicting a United win. So I'm going to have to. We're not going to keep a clean sheet, that's for sure. So I'm just going to have to say, I'm going to say 3-1. I think when you've got Ronaldo, I think, like I said, you play with 12 when you've got a player like that. So I can see us. Did somebody put in the comments earlier, didn't they? Ronaldo hat trick. So
yeah.
No, I can't see that. But yeah, 3-1 United, because we're not keeping a clean sheet. But, you know, thinking about it, you know, take my United loyalties away, I can see someone to spot there a 2 each draw. I could see that again. And I could also see a Leicester win as well. But I won't be voicing that too loud.
No. Where can everyone find you, Connor?
If you want to find me, my @ is on the screen. But obviously the main account's All for United WFC and just the All for United account. If you want to hear anything United related, we do cover other things as well. But it's mainly definitely go and show some love as well to, like I said, the All for United WFC page as well from the women's team. John and Natalie, especially over there, do some incredible work in promoting the women's game and trying to get that. Some more eyes on women's football and things like that. So, yeah, that's definitely worth a follow. But if you like, somebody put that earlier on in the comments. Yeah, I do apologise. My statistic that you'd never beaten us at the King Power in the Premier League was wrong. You did beat us that 5-3.
Yeah, we did.
It was a Tyler Blackett red card, I believe, and
Did Raphael give away the penalty, was it? To Vardy?
Yeah, was it Cambiasso Masterclass, I think, if I remember rightly, in that game or something like that.
Herrera scored that back heel.
Yeah, it was.
I remember.
It was the Di Maria goal as well, and we still lost.
That's fun. Right, Connor, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and good luck after this weekend.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers. Hey. Right, guys. It's a pleasure as always. Great guest was Connor. Guys, smash a like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV if you've enjoyed the show tonight. If you're new, follow us at Leicester Fan TV on Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like I said, follow us on everything. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, wherever you can find us at Leicester Fan TV. Game of FIFA later, Jack. Maybe Ross. So yeah, follow us on everything at Leicester Fan TV, wherever you can find us. Thank you to these guys: ADT, Hollogram, Tiger, Pizzeria, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, the Fox's Arms, Newby Co, and Hope Against Cancer. Thank you to all them guys. Competition then this weekend. What minute will Leicester score the first goal? Or the first goal will be scored, in fact. Win yourself and a friend a £20 trip to the Chippy. Thanks to Pukka Pies. Guys, we're live tomorrow night. Premier League prediction show on Thursday with Tom and myself. Pre-match show Friday with Reedy to talk all things Leicester City. The watch-along is back with Elijah at 2 p.m. on Saturday. The post-match aftermath show with Jamie at 9:30 on Sunday. Phil will return with a Fan Zone show on Monday. The WSL weekly show next week. And then the away fan chat show will be on next Wednesday. Hopefully talking to Brentford. We'll also have the watch-along for the Spartak Moscow game in the Europa League. So come and join us there. Guys, thank you as always for watching. It's been a pleasure. I really hope you enjoyed the show and getting a really good insight into the opposition. Guys, smash a like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. It's been a pleasure. This is Jack from Leicester Fan TV saying goodbye, good night, and see you tomorrow for the Premier League prediction show. Come on, Leicester.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.